Hi there! You're watching a screencast about testing MODX. I'm Gauke Sietsema and I will tell you how you can test MODX by using Github. Some requirements before you can start off are a Github account, a good understanding of the command line interface, a working local web server, a working vhost on your web server, so that's a virtual host, so you can actually access your web server in your browser, and you need an empty database table. So let's start off by setting up your web server. So currently I have a test page here, and you notice the index.html file in my web root, and I remove it because I need an empty folder. Otherwise I can't clone the Git repository into my new folder in my web root. So I go to GitHub, and on GitHub I go to MODX CMS/revolution, and I copy the URL of the clone or download repository button, just like you see on the screen. When you copy that, you go back to your terminal window and you clone the repository, and you clone it into dot. So usually you just enter git clone, but now you enter a dot behind the command and it will install MODX, or it will clone MODX into your current folder. So when it's finished, we can see that all the MODX files are currently in the folder, and you'll notice that my terminal window also says that I'm using the 2.x branch. First off, we have to build the MODX core, so we go to the build folder, and in the build folder are two sample files, and we need to copy those to not include the sample word. So just copying, nothing else, it's just that. And after copying those files to the non-sample version, we have to actually build the core. So you do that by executing php transport.core.php, and it will generate all the core files. That shouldn't take very long. After building the core, we go to the setup as we usually do, and we install MODX. So here you enter all the details, which you should have by hand right now. Please note that you should disable CSS and JS compression. Otherwise, you might run into weird problems when testing MODX. So we just click next, and we install everything because everything looks fine. Then after installation is complete, we should not remove the setup folder. So we just leave the checkbox unchecked, and we go to the login screen, which we are going to test just to make sure everything is fine. And we're logged in. Also make sure that your ad blocker is disabled for your test environment. So let's go find a pull request. I usually filter my pull request on a milestone because I'm usually testing a specific milestone. So we click milestone and then we click the tree version. Next we find a pull request we think we can test. Well, this one looks pretty easy to me. So let's just try it out. So right now we have to find the repository URL of, in this case, Vasily's MODX Revolution fork, because we are going to add that repository to our own computer as a remote. When you clone a Git repository to your computer, you always have one remote, which is the original. But now we also want to add another remote, and that's Bezunkin's remote. So we then have access to both the original MODX CMS/revolution files and branches, and also those of Bezunkin. So just click his name, find the Revolution branch, and do the same thing as we just did, which is adding the repository. You do that by typing git remote add bezunkin and then the repository URL. The name bezunkin can be anything, but I usually name it after the user who owns the repository. After that, you do a pull on all the branches of bezunkin and you're set to go. So then we browse back in the browser to find the name of the pull request branch. Then we go to the command line interface and check out the branch we want to test. In this case, it's 3x forgot password. After that, we go to the browser and we clear all our caches. I always use the disable cache option in the inspector tool from Chrome. And then we can also remove the MODX cache. So we have to log in. But we have a problem. We have missing dependencies. This is a new thing which was introduced in MODX 3 because we have some dependencies now, which are handled by Composer. So we go to the command line interface again, and we go to the root of our installation. And there we type Composer install, and Composer install will install all the required packages to run the new MODX 3. This may take a while because it's actually a lot of packages we need to get. But when it's finished, we can refresh the browser and everything should be fine. We do see a problem there because we see a lexicon string there which isn't working, and that's because we haven't refreshed the cache yet. I'm going to hard refresh the cache by going to the core cache folder and remove everything inside, and then I refresh the browser and everything looks pretty nice. So here we see the new login screen in MODX 3, and now it's time to test this pull request. So this one was actually on the home screen, but let's just test to see if everything is working okay. A couple of hints to remember when testing pull request. Not only test what should be tested, so in this case the home screen, but also test a couple of other things to see if everything is still alright, that it's not breaking other stuff. So after you finish the test and it's either good or bad, just share all your thoughts and testing results on GitHub in the pull request which you tested. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can find me on details shown on the screen right now. Thank you.